Alright, what we're going to talk about today is sovereign individuals. Okay, go to Wikipedia and look it up. Sovereign. And I only have 10 minutes to explain this, so I'm going to run through it real quick. We're going to describe a slave. A slave is the property of a slave owner. Total slaves don't own their bodies, their time, their labor, nor anything else. Total slaves have no freedom of action. They must do what their masters dictate. They may not do what their masters forbid. They may not own any property whatsoever. A total slave may be harmed, punished, or killed by their masters without restraint. Okay? Now, a complete sovereign individual, and I hope you paused it to go look it up and read for yourself. You need to do your own research, and you will never hear that from a church. Do your own research. Verify. Okay? And prove me wrong. A complete sovereign individual owns their own lives, bodies, time, labor, and whatever other properties that they can practically command, control, and or utilize. Theoretically, they have total freedom of action without restraint. So, why are we all slaves in America and there's very few sovereign individuals? It's because of the system that we live in, the system that was created for us to work in. If you participate in the system, you are a slave to the system. And I will explain why. To be a sovereign individual within this system, America's system, you must faithfully and honorably follow God's law as best as you can so that you don't become a criminal under the jurisdiction of the government. Now I'm not gonna go into detail because I only got 2 minutes, but that's the 10 commandments. It's basically the 10 commandments, okay? You must be self-supporting and earn enough money from other than the government to take 100% responsibility for your life and your family. So you must not be a burden to either the government or your fellow man. Anytime you suck the government's tit, you become a privileged person without no rights. You must not accept no food stamps, no welfare, no Social Security, no Medicaid, no government entitled program, especially no FEMA, okay, for those that know what's really going on. You must be educated, and preferably a private school. Come on now, public schools, they offer this education to us. This is the free version, and the free version got us to where we are today. So you need to educate yourself, self-education. You got the internet, you got the tool to do it. You need to go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? This is the greatest time, you know, in history right now for an individual that want knowledge to get knowledge, you know, in a massive amount of quantity. I mean, it's readily open and there available for you to know what's really going on. It's up to you. Okay? So, you should also have a computer, you know how to use word processor, you know, browse the internet so you can get this knowledge and research it, and because people will come after you if you try to be a sovereign individual. You must at all times be fully informed about your rights. If you do not know what your rights are, or you have to depend on anyone else to know what they are, then you are either not intelligent to do it on your own, or a financial slave, or both. You know, you can easily be manipulated and abused by unethical legal professional or your government. And we know this. We know lawyers are crooked. You know, they know the law. You should understand the criminal laws and the tax laws so that you can present your case well to a grand jury or a judge. And now here's what the U.S. Supreme Court says on this subject. Every citizen of the United States is supposed to know their law. Okay, now in the Bible, Proverbs 28, verse 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. Okay? Alright, peep gang. You must be fully prepared to personally litigate and defend your rights. You cannot depend on a lawyer to do this for you. And if you do, you will become a financial slave to him defending yourself, and that will lead to a financial ruin and becoming another ward of the state eventually. Okay? You should not have a state driver's license, especially if it requires you to provide a Social Security number. Instead, you can get an international driver's permit. Google it. Google international driver's permit and see if you cannot apply. Okay? You must acquire a post office box, preferably in a foreign country, and have all your mail forwarded to your real domicile, to where you really stay. This is how serious this is, okay? That way, no one can find you from a computer database where you physically live. This will protect your privacy, okay? And you got to find out the way to do this. It's difficult within the system because they created the system to work against you. And you're stuck in the system along with me. And we're just now figuring out ways to beat the system and get out the system, okay? You should take the necessary step to protect your assets. Remove all RFID tags and put them in the name of a trust or an artificial entity. And that, you can put them in your dog's name. Whatever you got to do. You cannot have a marriage license from the state, and if you have one, you must eliminate it. Instead, get a common law marriage or a contract, but not a marriage license. You must either be a state national or a U.S. national instead of a privileged or a presumptive U.S. citizen. Okay, look this stuff up. Look up state national. Look up U.S. national. Look up U.S. citizen. Find out what they really mean. It's for you to go and do this research and prove me wrong. Not for me to tell you what's really going on like they do in church and just dictate and indoctrinate you and tell you what you are supposed to think, believe, and how you're supposed to live, okay? That's not what I'm doing here. Here I'm giving you some information to go and do some research on your own. You must reside inside a union state on non-federal land. This will ensure that you are not subject to socialist democracy that is in control inside the federal zone. Okay, you must remove social security numbers from all your financial accounts and from your real property to be a sovereign person, okay? You should keep your financial records in a place away from your home or encrypted electronically so that no organization can subpoena or seize them from your home. Now, you must understand that if you're a sovereign person, you have made a system or created a system of wealth for yourself, because there's no way you can do this, you know what I'm saying, working for the man 9 to 5. There's no way you can create that amount of money or support, within his system to be a sovereign individual. Now what you can do is create your own system and feed off his system, but he don't like that. He's going to come after you if you feed off his system. He don't like any viruses feeding off his system. This is his system. Who are you to come in his system and get big off his and get big and fat off his system, okay, and not pay back into the system and abide by the laws within his system? Who do you think you are? Peep game. Y'all sleep, boy, I tell you, y'all so sleep. You should not provide a social security number to any employer, and if you do, give it to them. You need to give it to them in the form of a W-4 or a W-8BEN, a W-8BEN form. You file stopping withholdings, and it must have an explicit copyright statement and a non-disclosure statement saying that acceptance of this form by the employer constitutes consent not to disclose this form to any outside third parties, including the government, okay? This is the game you got to play, because if you don't play it, you know what I'm saying, you're going to become a slave, which most of us really are, just slaves. And finally, if you must have a social security number, and most of us do, because we in the system, we was raised in the system, we was born in the system, that's all we know is this particular system that they have offered to us. It's not like we had a choice. You need to start an artificial business name that is your full name in all capital letters. This is why your name is on your birth certificate in all capital letters. Peep game. That's why your mother and father is an informant, because you are a product of this system. And once you are a product of this system, the informant must tell the banks that you have been born, so they know now to calculate how much more money they're going to make off you as a consumer within their system, okay? Because you know what I'm saying, are the consumable, You are the, I guess, the ink in the printer, if you want to say. And that's about it. You know